This is a Harley Benton custom. What do they call it? Let me just turn it over. SC custom line with Grover tuners, no less, right? And reading on the internet, a lot of people think these are wonderful guitars. So let's have a look down it. A couple of issues that I have to deal with is this. See that there? That is not what it was brought in for, but that's the most awkward spot to fix. But we'll worry about that in a minute, right? Oh, get back in there. Well, just turn over the head and let you see what the other problem is that has been brought in for. It's going to be hard to see what the problem is. Let me just see if I can find it. Yes, if you see there, there's a crack right across. Yeah, you can see it in that fixture. But there's also, which I don't think he spotted, there's also a crack. Where is it? Let me just look to see. Gosh, it's hard to spot. Sorry. But there's another crack going up there. And I'm hopeful. I can't see the bloody thing. My fingerprints. Let me just clean it up and come back to you. I spotted it now. It's here. Let me just see if I can show you. You see that crack there just going across and down? It goes right down and it meets this crack going across, and that's going to cause a problem, because if I take that off, I suspected what happened, that this was hit, this damage on the front that I showed you. I suspected it was hit hard and it might have shaken the neck. And I'm hoping, although I'm pretty sure, although just let me look down here too, there's a big dent there, which might have been caused by, you know, the guitar being dropped. But I'm hoping that it's just the high gloss that's being cracked. But when I take off these tuners to look, it might cause damage, but it needs to be done to find out whether the neck is cracked. I don't think so. Or the just paint is cracked. But looking down it, it is a lovely guitar. It really is a lovely guitar. It has just a few little dents and scratches and scrapes on it. But it is the perfect size, the perfect weight, and it looks really super too. It has got some, they call them Roswell pickups. Can you see them? Gosh, you can't see this with all the reflections. It says Roswell pickups there. That's from Roswell, New Mexico. And it's all looking well. It's got a push-pull pickup. And there's people out there who's doing demos and stuff like that, singing the praises of this because they love the shape of it and the sound of it and everything. It's a bit fingerprinty, but that's not a problem. The neck is not rosewood. It's something like jotaba. I'll put these details up for you. But as you can see, they have got the shapes better than most people. A lot of the people who make these fake Gibsons, that when you look at the very close up to the edges, you can see there's black marks around it and they haven't fitted it. But Harley Benton seem to have got that sorted out. And I'm looking forward to checking this guitar out. The strings are black like love, absolutely black like. But there you go. So I think we'll get into it. Test the electrics first from the camera up there, which I forgot to switch on. I was going to give you a double shot of this. All right, we'll put the camera on above and see. There's a crack there, as you can see clearly. And then there's the other crack you can see clearly. And because it's not going the whole way up the body, I'm determining that it's not a crack in the head. And I'm pretty sure that it's not cracked beyond the surface. Now, what do I do about that? You know what I'm going to do about that? What I could put in is very thin super glue and let it soak in there, and very thin super glue and let it soak in there. But it would not do any good whatsoever, because the super glue won't hold it, because it's cracked and it's sitting together anyway. It's not going to soak into it. So I'm going to do nothing. Okay, let's test this thing out. Alright, it looks okay. Switch it on. Yeah, it's firm enough and it's good and solid, right? Okay. I can hear guitar noises. Let's just make sure it's all working. And I don't think there's going to be that much to do, but it sounds okay. It sounds pretty good. It's just nice and loud. Pickups are slightly low, but not bad. Intonation I'll check whenever I put new strings on. So let's get into the neck needs some work because it's dry. So I'll just clean that up and clean the frets up a bit, get the strings off, and then I'll look at this here down here because that's the main thing. So I'll get the strings off first. Bring the head down into focus, pull the jack plug, and get you closer. What does that plectrum say? blackdogmusic.co.uk. Don't know where that came from. But it came from blackdogmusic.co.uk. Right, okay. Let's get these off. I like Grover tuners, and they would be real Grover tuners, not fakes. I think these are about $350, these guitars. Because what Mr. Benton Harley did is he pre-drilled the holes a little bit too big so they get the screws to go in easily. Mr. Harley Benton. My what would you call her now? She's my nephew's wife. I suppose I call her my nephew's wife. She's not a relation then, and you can put a name to. But anyway, you can correct me. But her name is Harley, and she's a beautiful girl, absolutely stunning girl. She just got married there not that long ago, and boy does she look good looking. She's in competition with me as being the best looking person at the wedding. Yeah, and guess where I came in that competition? But my grandson's a handsome boy, and he's married a beautiful girl, and they seem to have a great life together, I'm delighted to say. If I could only say that about my daughter, who took ill when she was 20, and she got serious arthritis at, I think, 25 or something like that. I think she was 25 when she took serious arthritis, and her life changed overnight. It was just pain, 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 and she's in hospital again today because she gets all these infections and stuff like that there. There's nothing you can do except for trust your health providers, and be quite honest, I don't trust my health providers. I had to. She was in a bad way last night because she got sepsis in her arm, and she'd been 2 days in the emergency ward of the hospital. 2 days, and they still hadn't treated her. They had seen her and put her in a back room and give her a drip of water, but hadn't put any antibiotics into her. And because of her ailment, she's swollen up with with steroids. So 9 times they tried to get a needle into her arm. And then the guy who finally came, a specialist, says they were doing it all wrong. And she was frustrated. So she got the needle in her arm last night about, what do we call it, about 11 o'clock? No, she got the needle in her arm last night about 9 o'clock. And she was texting me at 10:30 to say, the needle's in my arm, but there's still no antibiotics. The nurses haven't put the antibiotics in, and I've asked them 5 or 6 times, and I've rung the buttons 7, and they said just wait. So I waited to midnight, and I'm her daddy, right? But I'm still I don't have any authority over her. So I just got fed up and I rang the hospital. It took me ages to get through, and I asked to speak to the head nurse, and I spoke to the head nurse. And I had to sort of be serious. Wasn't rude. I never would be rude. But I had to be serious. And I says, what is happening? You know, it's nearly an hour, and they said there's no antibiotics going into her. And now they're saying they have to get the doctor to re-prescribe because there's been a delay. And she says, oh, that's nonsense. She says, the head nurse, she says, I'll sort that out in the next 5 minutes. And she did. But isn't it funny? You have to chase. You have to ring up. And my daughter's just too nice to complain. I'm not. I can be. Despite my gorgeous personality, which you see on this thing, I can be. I can say, you know, listen, hey, come on. I wouldn't be rude, although I did threaten once when they kept my dad in hospital. I did threaten once to come down with people and take him out of hospital because they weren't giving him the right treatment. That's another long story. Hospitals, don't start me. Anyway, you did start me. Hopefully she's getting a bit better today, and she's in the middle of moving house as well, which is even worse, you know. What did I do with that other washer? Georgie girl, did you steal the other washer? What have I done with it? Oh, it's still on the machine. Right, okay. Okay, let's get on with this. You don't want to hear about my troubles. Maybe you do, I don't know. Nobody knows. My poor daughter. My daughter, when she was 16, 17, 18, she was beautiful. All the boys were all over her. And then she got married and still was beautiful. But then after her first baby, she got hit with rheumatoid arthritis. She's had both her knees replaced. She's had both her elbows replaced. They're talking about replacing the knees that they replaced already again, and she's constantly on steroids. They forgot to take her off or reduce her steroids. She thought that, okay, I'll just keep taking them the way they tell me. And it turns out that she turned over in bed one night and broke 8 ribs because they give her too much steroids. And it weakened the bones, so they had to rush her into hospital, and they had to rush her into hospital and feed her bone strengthening material and stuff like that there. Drive you nuts, drive you nuts. Anyway, that's that tightened up, and that's my hospital story told. Okay, let's move on to the neck. Right, we'll check the neck just to make sure what it's like. And I'll do this quickly and let you know if there's any problems. Right, there's a few little issues down here. Had there been no issues, I would have been happier. But there are a few, so I'm going to check the truss rod now before I do anything with the frets. No, truss rod's exactly right, just the right little amount of underbow. Tiny, 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 and I like that. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a scruff down here and get the frets level. You want to have a nosy in there, don't you? And in there. Let's just have a nosy and see what's in there. And then we'll put it all back together, but don't tell anybody. Okay? Yeah, it's a neat job. The pots are made, it says on it, made in somewhere. Made in Korea. So, and they're, I think I've seen those pots before. Alpha pots, I think they're called. It's push pull. It's neatly wired, all very good. Nothing exciting to get nothing exciting in there to get your juices flowing. What's there to see there? Nothing. But I took it off to let you guys see like I told you I would do. So, there you go. Shielded too, very nice. So what I'm going to do now is fiddly. I want to make this little dent less visible. I can't make it invisible, but I think I can make it less visible. Right, now where are you? Yeah, you can see it there, right in the center of the screen. That little dot. I'm going to work on that now. The problem I have here, let me just show you. Let me just see, this camera's on steady. The problem I have here is this little bit of white and these cracks down the side. I'm not going to be able to do anything with those. But what I need to do is get some black coloring to the edge there. But as you can see, the edge is crooked. So I'm going to have to get some black coloring there, and if I can get that all colored in black without too much on the edge, then I'll put super glue over the top to hide it a bit. But it's not being made invisible, it's just being made less visible. Now, I've got matte black here. And you can see I'm using an old chocolate box to catch anything, because this is felt, and I shouldn't use anything damp on it. And a bit of brown paper from Amazon. Thank you, Amazon. And I'm going to be doing toothpick painting. So just toothpick painting. Just a bit more. I'm looking at the camera to see what I can see. That's pretty close. So when it dries matte black, it'll sink into it and it'll stay black. But when I put the super glue on top of it to create a gloss, it'll go back to being shiny again. But I think that hides it a bit better, doesn't it? Alright, I'll come back to you when that's dry. Right, we're about 2 hours later, and there's nothing magical or exciting about this. All I'm going to do is put a little drop of super glue on it. You can see it's turned into a matte finish. Can you see that on the cam? I can't tell. You can see it's turned into sort of a matte finish. So what I'm going to do now is just put a little tiny drop. As I say, nothing magical about this. I'm not even going to sand it. I'm just going to put the drop on as best I can. And what I need to do is just angle the neck a little bit so that it's sitting back a bit. So let's just see. Another careful shaky hand thing. Let me just go up here so I can see better. And then down the sides a bit. I'm hoping this will darken the lighter color. But I'm not going to go for perfection here, by the way. I'm not. I'm just going to go for hiding it a bit better. Right, and that's all I'm going to do. That there is all I'm going to do. And whenever it settles, it'll just take away that rough look. That'll settle down into it. And the only way to get that properly is, well, I don't even know if you could, but you'd have to sand the whole head and respray the whole thing, and that's not going to be worth it for this little guitar. Nice little guitar though it is, it's still not going to be worth it. Right, so where's my toothpicks? Thank you, piece of paper. And I'm going to now, while that's drying, put these strings on. I'll speed that up. Well, I don't know how much you saw of that last bit, because when I looked up at the camera it said card full. So hopefully you got something of me doing that little touch up. But now I'm going to put on strings, and they're going to be size 11s, because I just happen to have, guess what, size 11s. And this being a Harley Benton copy and a newish type guitar, I have no problems putting on 11s. I tend not to like putting on strings that are higher than 10s, but on an electric guitar like this it'll be fine. And then I have to do the intonation and the neck frets set up. So I'm going to speed this up. Well, what do you say now? Another nice day now. This is one day later because I got caught up in work. And so I believe this is Monday. Who knows? I can't remember. My head's pickled. Busy day. Let's get on with this. Okay, let's get this thing in tune and check the intonation, and I'm going to speed through it unless there's a problem. Right, okay, that was all very nice and very easy. It's quite well intonated, so I'm pleased with that. And there's no buzzing, and the height of the strings is pretty good. I might someday bring the height of that down a little bit, but this is a learner, so I want them to get used to the strings as they are. And anyway, when you bring them down too far, sometimes they'll buzz down there, and then you have to bring it back again and start gluing it. So leave a little bit of room for yourself. Okay, the next thing you'll see is me having this on my knee and playing a Rhapsody in B minor flat. Well, here it is, little Harley Benton, and I should call it a little Harley Benton SC custom shop one. But it is a beautiful little guitar, really is nice. And it's got everything you could possibly want in a rock and roll guitar. And some people swear by this, and there's some professionals use the Harley Benton. So that's an SC, what do they say, custom line. What is it worth? I don't know, second hand, maybe 150. I think you can get these for 350. But my B minor flat. That's my Rhapsody. Or is it a Roxbury? I don't know, but that's what I promised. But there we go, that's it. Middle pickup. Rock pickup. I hardly ever get to play guitar these days. Completely out of touch. And the mild pickup. Front one. Neck pickup. Oop. My fingers didn't used to be so big. I used to be able to play up there all the time. Anyway, it's got a phase switch, but I'm sure people, to me it just makes it sound quieter, but I'm sure there's people who will make some great use of that. Right, so I think I'll just give this back to its owner. As you can see, the little ding is still there, but it's hidden. It just needs another polish. And the cracks I didn't touch because there's nothing I could do with them. Because if I touched them, it'd make it even worse. And there's a dent in the back I didn't even think of touching. I've recommended to the owner to buy a hard case because this has had a little bit of bashing about, and you don't want to get it wrecked by the time you're finished. So I'll just play my favorite little chord progression. I'll just check the tuning. Now the very, very soft version. My nails are a bit too long. The rock and roll version with the back pickup. Let me just, my nails are just too long for this. Okay. All right, going back to Daddy. Hello, hello, bye-bye, bye-bye. Georgia girl is sleeping in her pink basket, and Ginger boy is sleeping in my bed. So the world is right, and everything is good, and I love this guitar. This is a lovely little guitar. All right, say goodbye to it. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Very well worth the money. Harley Benton makes pretty good guitars. Bye-bye, bye-bye.